No, Adrian, huh?
Hi,
There we
welcome
go.
to this talk. This is going to be a chat about relationships, partnering, commonality, divine, sacred partnerships. And I've got two very good friends here with me, maxdipro, he's in Canada, and Light, he's in Costa Rica at the moment. I've been
Costa
lucky
Rica.
to have met both these fellas in person. And so this is going to be cool because it's a little bit of three different um, kind of how we are looking at relationships or how we're handling them and navigating them and going about them. And just a brief preface of why I wanted to have these kind of talks. And here it goes. In 2015, I attended a detoxification conference in Florida, and I walked up to the group and I looked around and thought, wow, I'm one of the oldest people here. And I didn't think that coming from a place of, okay, I'm not going to fit in. They're all younger, and they're not going to have anything to do with me. It wasn't that. It was, wow, these people have really been suffering. They have done their research. They're so smart. They've tried everything. They knew about the Gerson therapy and Hippocrates, and they'd heard all of it. Oh, and they knew Arnold Ehret and the mucus. I knew none of that, but they knew YouTube and they had researched, and here they were. And then I was a I was a single mom, and my little boy was 4. I was not thinking about relationships, a man, hooking up. I wasn't finding anyone attract, anything like that. I was so focused on getting my body at its optimal level and removing obstructions and fixing my lymph nodes and all this lymphatic mess I had going on. That for a couple of years I didn't think about dating, and then a thought dropped. And then it was because I started going to all the conferences, and I looked around and I was thinking to myself, well, I wonder if I could date anyone. I wonder if I could date someone who hasn't fasted, who still eats the standard American diet. I wonder, because when you go to those conferences and there's people like that, but then when you get back into your little nook, there's no one around here like that. So then, fast forward January 2020, I go to the Amazon Fruit Festival. Someone looked at looked at my chart and said, "Wow, you've been single. You've been alone a lot of your life, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, you need to practice loving, practice loving." And so I get back home, and then that summer, I didn't, nothing else came into my mind. But then that summer, uh, my mother's cleaning lady told me that she was engaged, and I said, "Oh, I didn't even know you were dating anybody." Yeah, she met him off Bumble. Bumble is a dating app. So I get on there, and that was my first experimentation of even trying to converse with a man, eating just whatever and not really knowing that we cause it and we can remove it. That is where I've kind of gotten down to. Is then, if you like fast forward again in 21, now that I look back, I did a full bore experiment. Can I date someone who really is just highly toxic? I don't want to really, now that I've, kind of looked at this, it's not really the food, it's what the food does, in my hypothesis, my conclusion. And, maybe it's not just the meat, but now that I have cut out meat, would I respect someone who has compassion for animals? Probably. And then, but like all those neurotoxins and the snoring and the anxiety and that kind of thing. So here I am now, and what the next thing that really grabbed my attention, it was a Facebook post that Light posted, and he was shooting straight from the hip. He was being very specific and blunt and just exact about what he wants in a partner. And then Max was willing to also talk about how he sees it. And so this is pretty cool. So I'm in my mid 50s. Light, you're probably like in your 30s or early 30s or 40s. And then, and then Max is, but you can tell your age when you start talking. I do want you guys to tell that. But let me just throw out there, when I first started transitioning, there were two people that helped me so much get through all of that first stuff, family stuff, and friends, train, all of that. And Max, you know that you were so good to me. Thank you. I want to say thank you. And the other guy, he's not on here, but it's Marco. So, I talked to them, and so if I can let's start with Max, because it's so fresh and we just got through done. And if he has to jump off, then he can jump off. Max, go for it. Tell us, everything that you've been telling me, and how you navigate this.
Well, thank you. I thank you. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I listen to you. So that's great. We both thank each other. So again, my name is Max, and you want to know my age? I'm 62. So I'm getting there. But you know what? Age is just a number. I mean, everybody should know that. It's just a number. It's how you feel in your heart, and what service you give out, what you do for what we're doing here on this planet. So that's the number one thing for me. So age is just age. So anyway, yeah. So Candy and I were talking before Light came on, and we're talking about our relationship and stuff, and I was telling her how I felt about the relationship was to be elevating each other. And for me, that's the most important for me, is to have that elevation to each other rather than being a burden. And so when Candy was saying about the snoring and all that other stuff like that, that's kind of a burden for that person to deal with, because when you have a situation like that, you're already inviting that energy in, coming into your life. And so therefore now you have to deal with that extra energy, but what we're going through already in our planet, the planet's shifting like crazy. So now we got to deal with that as well on top of it. So I was trying to say to Candy, the best way to do it is to deal with a relationship would be equilibrium, with what the stuff's going on in our planet and the relationship. And we want to deal with everything we can with inner peace, as peaceful as possible. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that peace, that inner peace, which is not a hard thing to do, but it's difficult to getting in that situation to put yourself in that energy to total peace. Now you're working with two people to have that same understanding, and sometimes if you're not in that situation where that person is ready to have that, then that's an extra energy that you have to deal with. And so, like, again, I like to have that elevation where you both have that elevation. You're both elevating each other. So there's a saying, I don't date, I elevate. So if we can do that, that'd be amazing. But the problem is, again, the eating, the way they eat. And again, people eat the way they want to do, because I've heard both sides. I've heard, people eat meat and they treat me great. And then I've heard, I've actually seen and felt it where people eat clean as possible, but they backstab me, and that's the way it is. I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with people who can have that understanding of service to elevate each other. I don't want to be that burden either. I don't want to have that feeling knowing that I'm the person that's causing their sadness. Who wants that? And not me. I want to have that feeling where they smile in the morning because of me, because of that service that I've done for them. And not an ego thing, like I was telling Candy earlier. It's not an ego thing. It's the feeling, that beautiful feeling inside, knowing that, I've done something good for that person. Who wants to feel that bad energy where I've done something to make them depressed or uncomfortable or uneasy? I don't want that, man. I want to have, like, we both laugh our heads off for no reason. We both hold hands because we want to hold hands. We just do it. We hugging each other because we want to hug each other. All that kind of stuff. But then Candy came up to me and started saying, how do you deal with when they start eating, if they want to, come to you and they want to live with you and they want to eat Doritos or corn chips or whatever and all that stuff. Well, I would tell her right away before. I tell her ahead of time and say, listen, I don't think it might work that way, because subconsciously I'm going to think about, like she's eating Doritos and chippies and all this other stuff, and it's not going to be fair to her for me to feel that way. So anyway, that's where we came up to that point before light came along. And so for me, it's more of an elevation to each other, and that's most important to me, is that elevation. If we can elevate each other, man, we're grooving. If not, well, then you know what, you do your thing and I'll do my thing, and we both go peacefully. It's all about peace, man. It's all about peace. So that's where it comes down to, for me anyway.
And you were telling me how you don't tell someone how to eat or what to eat at all. You don't,
No.
Want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Like, see, like I don't know if some of you know me when I used to do the master fast with the individual. I never used to tell them, you must, you have to, you got to, I mean, they should know themselves. If they don't feel right and they're sick and stuff like that, they should know that they should have to do something, drastically change their lifestyle and eating and properly and cleaning and all. But when they start doing that, when they start thinking that way and they come to you and say, I want to know more, tell me more, teach me, please. Then you have, you tell them. Then you tell them, okay, well, this is how you try to do it this way. Step A to step Z. And you tell them the steps. And you kind of tell them nicely, this is the way you should be doing it. And, good luck on it, because it's not easy. And I know it's not easy for some people. For most people, it's not easy because they don't understand the concept. Oh, you mean I can't eat meat no more? Or, hey, man, I can't have wine anymore? And all that. Yeah, you could do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. And I think, honestly, that's what the key is. Now, is it right? Do I agree with it? Not necessarily, because I know food is not a good, some foods, most foods are the number one thing about food is an addiction on this planet, which is complex sugar. And we all know that. We know, the group knows this, that complex sugars are the worst for the body. Proteins breaks down the body, man, in a big, massive acidosis state. We can get in, but again, it's about relationship. So when you do your thing, and I was telling Candy, when you do your thing, you're doing your persona, doing the things that you do, let them see what you do. Action speaks louder than words. Let them see what you're doing. Let them see, and oh, hey, man, why are you doing that? And how come? And let them ask you questions why you're doing all these things. And when they start seeing these things, then you hopefully, they do the same things, and then you do the same things you guys eat, and we eat together the same things, and we do productive stuff together like that. So I don't force them. I just show them. I plant the seed in their hearts, and hopefully they can deal with that.
All right. Light, let's hear from you about what you think.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Max said. It's all about the vibration and frequency, right? And for me, I'm on the same exact mindset as Max. I want to be growing together with someone, and if I'm not growing together with someone, if they're not going to do the work, or if I'm going to, if some of my dark shit is going to come up, and then I'm just going to be like, oh, no, I'm going to give up. Sometimes the stuff is dark, and we need someone else to be like, come on, this is where we have to grow and get through our dark side so we can transform, transmute, transfigure to something brighter, and but if that's why, with, like, for me, I just can't do that. If a girl is eating any kind of animal products, I just personally, this is where I'm at in my life now, and this is the only direction I'm going, and I just can't be with that. No offense to how people eat, but I just can't be with someone like that. But I don't tell people what to eat either. If they want to eat you know what, if they want to eat organic chips or, you know, a sweet potato or whatever, you know, anything that is vegan, I'm fine with that. I have to be realistic here. There's not a lot of fruitarian or liquidarian women out there, even raw vegan women. Okay, so the ones that haven't been poked, that are raw vegan. I mean, I put out that post. I have it right here. Should I read it again? I mean, it
Yeah,
was
do it.
just. I know it's kind of like, dude, this dude looks desperate or something. I'm not desperate. I'm alone almost all the time in my life. My standards are so high that I was like, you know what, I might as well just put it. I put it a few times on Facebook. You know what? If people are like, hey, he's putting this out there, I don't care what they think, but this is, I mean, because there's so many things that I am looking for, and I just said what I'm looking for is basically like someone who's like around 31 years old to 40, but you know, I'm flexible, maybe over 40. I don't think I'm doing the Saturn return though, under 31. I don't know about that because I've had too many experiences. So, but mostly I'm just looking for someone super loyal. That is the key. I don't know why I can't find a loyal woman. One that doesn't drink, one that doesn't smoke. If she smokes ganja, like, you know, a puff or a joint once in a while as a medicine, I'm fine with that. I can't be picky. But if she's, you know, she's puffing, you know, smoking an ounce every day, that's not, in my opinion, that's not what I'm looking for. And that's okay if that's what people want to do. Yeah, like I said, just looking for someone that's at least vegan, even though I don't use labels really. Someone that is vegan, that, you know, hopefully eats a lot of fruit and is raw, or that is at least interested in doing more raw, and more juices. Of course, like I said, I mean, the biggest thing for me is if they've gotten the clot,
Crotch shot.
the hokey pokey. Yeah, exactly. If they got that, there's no possible way, and it's just the way it is, you know. Um, and then I'm looking for someone who doesn't want kids. If you already have one kid, that could work, but I'm saying one, one, and I'm saying, you know what, I could possibly have kids. But like with my last partner, it was like she needed to have this definitive answer, and like, how many kids are we having? And I was like, honey, like we just moved, you know, all the way around the world to try to buy land, to get a house going, to, you know, to get a garden going. How about we get that going first, and then we'll see what happens, you know. But I know for a fact I couldn't have multiple kids. And that's too much. I can't deal with the loud noises and I love my freedom. I'm so free, and I've been free for so long. And you know, for me, my child is kind of what I've been doing in these different dimensions on this planet. You know, just and helping people get their health back. That's my child, kind of, you know, and that's just how I look at it. And yeah, also just looking for someone who wants to be on the land and build the Garden of Eden, you know, getting into nature, growing the food, being sustainable, looking for someone who's emotionally available. That's really important. That's really rare. Someone who's actually there, and who, if they get triggered, they don't just bottle up, and then that one trigger, they use it against you for the entirety of your relationship. And looking for someone with, like I said, with morals, going back to being loyal or classy, looking for someone like that, which I've never found real. I've had a couple people who I kind of was with, but not like serious ones. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking for someone who's willing to do the deep work, not just be a fair weather friend. Oh, everything's fun and awesome, and I like all of your strengths. Well, if you see my weaknesses, that's the time when you need to stick by me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you need people the most, you know? And then I'm looking for someone spiritual, not religious, and someone who's kind. And that's kind of the gist of it, you know? But yeah, I'm not looking anymore. I'm just gonna, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I love my peace so much, just being by myself. It's like, I'm used to
Yeah, it
it.
sounds like
I'm
you
used.
really love yourself. That's the most important thing, that you do really love yourself, and that's awesome, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing that I put out there, and I was, sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh, do I go on a spiritual singles website or something? I do like that one though, because they do have an icon that someone, if they wish, they can put if they got the hokey pokey or if they didn't. So that kind of narrows it down. So it's kind of cool.
Which
But
one? Which?
it's called Spiritual Singles.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, but
Spiritual singles.
yeah, even yeah.
I looked into the one that was called it's called Unvaxxed or something, whatever. But it was, I'm not doing that. It was a lot. Like, you had to verify that you had to set up a call with a nurse or something like that. Nah. So for me, I think it's pretty important that my partner is their own healer, that they don't seek for outside help, or they don't feel like they have to go to a business to hear a word attack that is going to go along with their symptoms, that they have done enough work, that they don't have anything to do with that business at all. And and their lifestyle reflects that, and there's no Tylenol. They do enemas, or they've at least done them, and they're not afraid of them. And that I would really appreciate my next partner to already be there with that, for sure. I mean, that's like, especially your own healer. I don't want to have to go through all of that again and get through that. But that's the thing too. It's like, here in Middle Tennessee area, some men are country and rugged and don't go to the doctor. Guess I can say doctor. I can say doctor, right? They don't go to do that, and so they didn't do the thing. However, they might not really handle themselves or their other business to what would make me feel more comfortable. That might be a better way to say it. But I love that other part, that they're just country, and they, I just say country. Okay. Just go with that, just because I don't know any other way to explain it. But, because they're the men that are, they kind of have a look about them, I mean, they might be mechanics. They might be, they're rugged, they're country boys. They don't do that. They don't go to the thing. Oh no, they're not going to do none of that. But they just drank a 12-pack last night or something, So,
yeah.
With that being said, I'm gonna put this question out there, and then I'd like for y'all to answer it. Each take your turn. We all say that we want someone that we can elevate with. The question I want to ask you guys is, do you think someone can elevate if they are consuming, I'm going to separate it. If they're consuming animals, if they're putting death in, can they be elevating and growing? Or if they're putting in processed foods, the junk food, I don't know what you want to call it, just processed foods, like the Doritos and the Cheetos, or the Chips Ahoy, or any of that, the highly processed, offensive foods. Can someone be elevating?
You know, if you don't mind, Light, I'll take this one, then you can answer that after me, I guess. See, there's a picture that I've posted many times before during the fasting, and there's a group of people eating. So you see a plate with meat and stuff like that, and their connection to source is there's no connection to source. I don't know if you see this picture, but and then the person beside it is eating a little bit of less food, and there's a little bit of connection out of their heads going closer to source, and then another person is beside it eating fruits, and then the connections to source is getting bigger. And then there's one with a glass of water, and it's really close to the source. And then there's one with eating nothing. There's nothing on the plate, and there's total connection to source. So I can resonate with that picture extremely, because it really truly is. Because when I did a 13-day dry fast, nothing but no, you know what a dry fast is, for 13 days, man. I mean, I was like elevating as much and by myself. And I couldn't really deal with this 3D world. I couldn't, because even if I tried to talk to them, they couldn't understand me. And even if they tried to talk to me, I couldn't understand them. There was no way, because you're just man. I'm telling you, you're just like right there, and you understand. You can see things through things and stuff like that. It's all connected. You understand everything. You really do. But now, to answer that question, absolutely. If you have that person doing the same thing, if I had a lady that would do the same thing, a 13-day dry fast with me at the same time, I couldn't imagine. It'd be like a total inner peace, and that's it. We wouldn't have to even talk, man. We just look at it. We already understand telepathically. We know everything. We wouldn't even have to say anything. And I get it. I totally understand that. So yeah, I definitely do think that, where if they're eating Cheetos and stuff like that, it won't raise their vibration. It won't. I know that. I lived that. I did it before. Drugs, booze, you name it, man. I was there before, a long time ago, and it didn't do nothing but give me anger. It gave me no self-respect, no self-love, no self-love with others. It was just a total chaotic, chaotic life. But then when I started to realize, I met this guy, and he told me all about it, because I was intrigued. I wanted to know more, and then I never looked back. And I'm telling you right now, it's a total different feeling. Now, don't get me wrong. Did I ever get backstabbed by people who ate raw foods and clean food? Absolutely, I did. And did I get a person that ate meat that will take the skin off their backs for me? Absolutely. And I guess what it is, it's what it really comes down to. Now, I don't agree with what they're eating. That's what they want to do. But as long as they show me total respect and they'll take the skin off their backs for me, I'm there, man. I'm listening. Whatever they want, whatever they can do for me, I'll do more for them, because they just showed me actions. Now, eating is wrong. Yeah, it is. But now, if I had a choice of somebody eating meat and taking their skins off their backs for me, or somebody eating really clean and backstabs me all the time, and can't even defend me when I'm not there, well, then you know who I'm going to choose. Definitely, I know I'm going to choose the person that's going to eat meat, because they're there for me, man. So I've dealt that. I've dealt with people who ate crappy, with people who ate clean as possible, and yeah, I got backstabbed from them too. But what are you going to do? It comes down to you individually. You know, I'm going to elevate myself as much as possible. Now, if I have somebody that's going to be the same level as me, then bonus, great. That's meant to be, obviously, great, awesome. But if I'm not, well, like says, I'm happy who I am. I love my freedom. I love what I do. I love what I can do for others. And you know what? And I'm going to find peace, inner peace, closer and faster by doing it by alone, or if I have somebody that'll have the same energy with me and that will elevate me with that, that's even better. Because you know what? We're not meant to be alone. No, I agree with that. We're meant to be having with somebody, but somebody who will not give you that kick in the nuts feeling every day. Why would you want to go through that? And then you got to say, you got to work with it. You got to deal with it. No, you don't. You don't. To me, I don't. I don't have to listen to you putting me down, or you're going to put my level energy down. And because why? Because of who I am, trying to do what I want to do best for us. Nah, man, forget it. I think I'll go on my own. You do your own thing. So yeah, if it comes down to it, does eating elevate when you're eating shit? Well, no, you don't. You don't. But again, I've seen people who eat garbage that will treat you like gold. So you take it from there. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, you said some great stuff there. Wow. I agree with what you said. My my response to this question initially, though, was I feel like it's not always black and white, and there's so many different facets to our health, and to there's so many different, we can go through many different awakenings in our life. Like me, I read The Power of Now like 20 years ago or something. That woke me up first, and I didn't start the diet, improving my diet, until a couple of years later. So, um, there's so many facets. Like I said, like, is the person going to be, you know, elevating to some of the highest levels if they're eating meat? Maybe back in the day or something, perhaps, but not now. Not now. There's no excuse. We can thrive there. We can all get, everything we need. We can get vegan food easily. We can get fruit. There's no reason. This is the time to rise up, and we have the conscious choice. Why would you want to consume death? For the animals, for ourselves, for the planet? Why would you want to do that? And if you want to do that, I'm not judging you, but what I'm saying is, yeah, you can only elevate so far if you're eating the animals. But and the same thing with if they're eating processed food, that they're going to be on quite a level lower. But I will say this again, that someone can still have some just dramatic spiritual awakenings and personal growth and big amazing things in their life. Even if they're still eating some processed food, they can still elevate in certain parts of their health, of their mental health, of their physical health, of their emotional health, right? But it's all about steps, and no one is the leader here. We're all just, if someone is kind of farther along than someone else, then it's our duty to pay it forward and say, hey, don't make some of these mistakes I made, and so it's really, we're all one. And yeah, I think that, yeah, but for as far as a partner goes, yeah, like processed food, I mean, yeah, once in a while, if they have some French fries or something, and it's or organic, like I said, organic rice chips, like whatever.
Yeah,
You know what? I had pistachios. I've been having pistachios lately that are roasted. I'm not perfect, so I'm not Mr. Perfection. I've been extreme in my life many times, and I don't need to be that person. But yeah. So, anyways, that's the answer to the question. I hope that makes sense for me.
Yeah, I think as we all are coming from a place of when there's no alchemy being practiced at all, like this, how I used to eat was cooked, dead, depleted all day long. It was highly processed every time I was putting something in my mouth because I didn't know. So that's what I think we can all agree that is what we're talking about. We're not talking about I'm sure none of us here are perfect. I mean, you know, I mean, Max, I'm sure he eats squeaky clean, and that is light. I can only imagine how it is when you are like, because I've already told myself in my 60s are going to be rocking it. I know, I mean, water, fat, I have these things that I want to do and where I want to go and travel, and I want to set myself up for success with it. And I have a 13-year-old son, you know, so a lot of times I buy things with him in mind, and then I end up eating it, you know, whatever. So the occasional processed food that, like, well, you know, but still, like, there's no dairy for 9 years. There's other things, but, you know, you eat something and you can feel it. And that is the beauty in it, is that we all have been, you know, we've done enough food elimination and stayed clean for a long time to know. And then you go back and you have something, boom, you feel the blowback straight away. And you're like, oh yeah. And you make the connection. You're like, yeah, well, nutritional yeast makes me wake up in the middle of the night sweating every time. So I cut it out for 7 years. I'm like, oh, nutritional yeast. Every time I eat that, I have a night sweat. Okay, well, cut that out. You know, it's things like that. And I wanted to say this. So I feel like maybe I'm very hopeful or positive. I feel like this is positive. And, you know, feel like I have these Nancy Drew traits. And I'm all, you know, I'm like, research. I want it, not research so much, but look at it and figure out the why. And then this, you know, because I feel like if someone has been consistent, pretty consistent, even consistent with the back and forth. Okay, consistent with that. But you come back to, okay, I'm going to do an enema. I'm going to reset. I'm going to start my day with a quart of juice, and then I'm going to have whole fruit. And then I'm going to have this clean salad. I'm cutting out the avocado for a while. I'm not doing nuts and seeds. You do this for a while, and it could be a while. I mean, it could be years, but I feel like sometimes that attitude, the behavior that is not wanted, or, you know, the ickiness, the backstabbing is what actually, the backstabbing and the, you know, all of those toxic traits. I feel like all of those will be detoxed out if stayed on the path long enough, and then there's enough time put in. I feel like some people who go back to just completely doing whatever didn't give their adrenal glands long enough to hit rock bottom. And they were seeing themselves, you know, thin, I'm so thin, I can't gain any weight. Okay, well, I'm going back to eating animal and goat milk. I'm going to try some raw milk. I'm going to try this. They didn't give themselves. I've actually observed these people. You know, I've like, some of them have lived here, you know, even, and then gone back to whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, because then he tried like raw meat, this one particular person that I'm thinking about, and I just feel like they didn't hit rock bottom with those adrenal glands. I know that when I was taking my blood pressures the whole time. 3 people. I had the same 3 people. That's how like anal I am. I'm not just going to let anybody take my blood pressure, because I know what it is, what it means to take a blood pressure and what I'm listening for. And I'm going to use a manual cuff, and I'm not going to a machine. I did ultrasound, so I've got a little bit of that. I'm not letting just anyone take my blood pressure. These 3 people are taking my blood pressure, and I watched it go from, you know, and it went boom. And like 80/60, and then it didn't get any lower than that. But I was rocking 80/60 and working, still doing ultrasound. And then I kept going, and then it started coming back up. And then I started to see, like, I could, you know, there were other things that started to change. Anyway, maybe that's what it is in these people is, you know, and sometimes our toxic traits are kind of revealed even. And then I just feel like we have to detox those out. I feel like there's this friend that I have, and maybe it's not because she's a Pisces, but she's pretty passive. You know, she's pretty passive. She just kind of lets things go. Even with me, when I've said, hey, I'm asking you, do you think and I'm looking for someone to say, and I've even told her, I'm like, can you be a little bit more stern with me, or like hold me accountable if I'm asking you about this certain, and it wasn't about food, and that's all I wanted. Okay. But she can't do it. And then that's okay. I get it. She can't do it. But you know what? I've got this meat eating friend over here. I've got this standard Americanite, and she's Russian background. And boy, she's, you know, she's like, and she'll say like this. Then I work 3 days outside the house. I work with this lady who she's, you know, she takes handful of prescriptions. She takes a pill for the other pill. Okay. She's that. But she's this Capricorn, you know, and she knows how I feel. Like there's only 2 things that I can't stay away from that really tempt me there at where I work outside my home. And, you know, it's French fries and the chips. And she'll tell me straight away, if she knows that she sees me going, she'll look at me, she'll give me a look, and she'll go, no. I mean, she's like, I told her, I'm like, you would make an excellent coach, because that is exactly what I want. I mean, I like that. I appreciate that. And especially if I've told someone, hey, can you do this for me? Can you hold me accountable? Can you like make sure? And every time you see me go over there, will you say, and now what I'm doing, now I'm working that whole place out of my life, because I've done it. I had to get a job to show something on paper. And I did it. And now it's like I'm maxed out. I know now this has to work out of my life, because, you know, I don't want to even be faced with the French fries 3 days a week. Okay. So that's where I'm at. And so I feel like sometimes the negativity or the negative traits, you know, even me, like the negative traits about me, you know, sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, wow, you know, I need to ease up on that person, you know, or that's not good candy coming out right now. That's icky candy coming out. So, we'll go around. Has anybody got anything else to share and to add to this? And please share where you can be found on social media. If you want people to follow you, tell us about your YouTubes or your Instagram names. Let's hear that.
You want to go first later, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so just to add to what you were saying there, Candy. Excuse me. It comes down, again, it always comes down to relationship with yourself. You know, I've heard a lot of stuff what you were saying, and it's what you desires, it's your desires, right? And it comes down to that, where we all need to understand what we need within ourselves first and foremost. So in other words, you know that saying, if you love yourself, then you can love others. If you don't know what love is, how can you love others if you don't love yourself? What do I mean by that? Well, because, you know, you want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your body, because, hey, man, this is our, you know, our vehicle. We got to go through our lives with this vehicle. So you got to make sure that you change oils in your cars. Why? Because you want to last longer. It's the same thing with your vehicle of your body. So what does that mean? You fast and so forth and so forth. So you're caring about yourself. You care. So when you care about doing this for yourself, imagine what you could do for other individuals that coming into your life. So I think that comes down to the first and foremost is to respect yourself, love yourself, and the rest will just do what it's got to do. If you don't have those qualities within you, me, then you can't do it with others. To find me, I have a YouTube channel called maxdipro. It's all one word. It's maxdipro in YouTube. I have a lot of stuff on there, and it's all mostly music stuff. Now, I used to have a channel for, you know, fasting and all that other stuff for health, but that's gone now. So if you want to just hear some good music, it might not be good to you. I mean, I can't please everybody, but yeah, it's on YouTube, and it's maxdipro. And so you guys could take a look at that if you guys want to listen to some tunes. And it's all about, by the way, awakening stuff. So it's about everything about that little jab here, and it's about what's going on in our planet. And it's an awakening kind of music, and it's a bit of like rock and roll stuff. So you can listen to me on that stuff. Go ahead, Light.
Cool. I want to check out your music. Wow. I would say, yeah, I also agree that from what you guys were just saying, it just it's just imperative that we have that understanding of ourselves. Know thyself, being your own boss, you creating your own reality, you call your own shots, self-governance, sovereignty, right? These things, no one else outside of you can tell you what to do. That's the whole inversion, right? That's the whole untanglement of the programs. And well, let's just put some dynamite in the matrix, really. And just sometimes you need sometimes you can't rewire. Sometimes you have to blow everything up and start with a new slate. But anyways, yeah, it's just about that, knowing yourself and being awake, not woke, awake, and doing the best that you can with every nanosecond of your energy. I don't always do that, but that's where I'm shooting, and I would just urge everyone, yeah, like, take the time now. Don't do the, hey, I'm gonna start my meditation practice tomorrow. Oh, I'm gonna eat more raw food tomorrow. Or, hey, I'm gonna do that juice fast I was trying to do. I'll do it next week. Because you're never gonna do it. Do it now. Now is the only time there is. Why don't you do it now? And then you get past that short-term gratification thing. And whenever you get past that friction or that fear or the pain and the weakness, guess what's on the other side? It's always the most beautiful stuff. All the gifts are coming right from the just straight down from the source connection, right from the creator, and it just comes right to you. And yes, so that's it. And I appreciate that we finally got this to work, Candy. Great job. And yeah, you can find me at, I guess, the best, I would tell you all the socials, but I've had 10 million different ones, and they just don't let me do anything. I do have a YouTube, which is the best, Raw Vibrant Health, and it is still, it's a detox, and I talk about spiritual and fasting and all this. It's still somewhat visible, so you can check me out there, and then you can find my website and yeah, more information there if you want. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to share a mantra that Max taught me in 2015, I'm sure, or 16. It was early, and I memorized it when you told it to me. I wrote it down, and my son knows it because we used to say it in the car all the time. And it's this: I'm whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. I stay connected to and guided by my inner source. I'm a magnet for love, joy, and abundance. Don't think I don't listen to you, Matt.
I remember that.
I love you, and I love you, light, and I love love, and I do want to get it right, and I want to love. I love swapping out massages, like, going down the spine, hitting each other's neural lymphatic points. And, I want to share with someone, and I want to be kind. And that is, and I am kind. It's not that I want to be kind. I'm kind. And what it's shown me, just this experimentation with being with others, is that respect where I am too. And, respect that I do appreciate just a simple salad, and I'm okay with not going out to eat. Maybe I would prefer to eat inside the home, and for a man to make me a beautiful salad, or even just a simple salad, that, you know, as far as a man being attracted to me, it's gotten way simpler. You know, it's actually like what used to maybe be attractive to me isn't maybe so much anymore. You know, it's not about, I don't think I ever looked at their vehicle, but now I notice, you know, it's not about the biggest, nicest truck, or, you know, that kind of thing. However, I will say that there is something across the board with a man for me, and it's that, like, a man that can do things, you know. That seems to be pretty consistent. It's like, help me build things, like they're good with their hands, you know. That I guess that pretty much sums it up, and thanks for listening. Hopefully this was helpful. Reach out to any of us if you'd like to ask more about the kind of lifestyle that we each live. I can tell you, I know these guys and I know myself, they are all very similar, and very, very extremely similar, and come at it with the same thought process. So you would be in great hands with either one of these guys, helping you on a healing journey, and to raise your vibration, and to love yourself even more intensely than you ever have. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next video. Mahalo.
Thanks, Candy.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Nice to meet you,
Nice
Max.
meeting you, by the way. Nice meeting you.